Businesses are built by people, and it's so simple, right? Like businesses are built by people, and so one big area for me that I need to grow into is developing really into a true CEO and a great leader. I naturally lean towards kind of the founder mentality, wanting to do 101 things, wanting to, I get excited by ideas, I get excited by creating things. And, I'm really moving into a CEO role now.
Hey there, and welcome back to the Oz Shift podcast. As always, I'm your host, Anthony Trucks, and we have another amazing guest. And I'm quite literally like, this is one of those people that have multiple Oz Shift moments. That when we talk about finding out how successful people make shift happen, that's this person in multiple facets. Not only in their previous career before they got into entrepreneurship, but then after that, having success on their own, and then actually now helping other people step into the realm of owning their own lives, getting out of the 9 to 5, and creating their own success. Like this person has gone through multiple levels to make shift happen, which is our big thing. And it's funny. Years ago, when I first got into this space, I was kind of entering into this realm. And his company, which I'm gonna give a little alluding, it's called Foundr. I was like, I'm gonna go out and tell people about my program so they can affiliate. And I sent an email to their team. This is the stupidest thing you do when you're first starting. And they were pleasant. They were like, not right now. But years have passed, and I look back and I go, oh, that young guy. I like his action, but it probably wasn't the right one at the perfect time. And so, anyways, I have actually passed that, studied them, watched them. I've actually purchased courses from this guy's company that I've utilized and have worked well. And so, not only am I interviewing somebody that I know has had success, but also believe in what they're doing. So, without further ado, welcome to the show. We'll call my new friend Nathan Chan. How you doing, man?
Thanks so much for having me, Anthony. It's a pleasure to be here, and that's a crazy story. I was not aware.
Yeah, well, I didn't want to let you know before we actually interviewed, but yeah, it was years ago, and I was like, "Oh, you gotta get big people to share your program." And I'm like, "Well, this founder company looks kind of big, so let me reach out to them." And I'm quite serious. It was like the first 6 months into this, before I knew anything, what I was doing. Your people were wise to say no, and they were actually gracious in doing so. So I have a respect for the way I was told no, because not everybody else was so nice. Anyways, enough about me. Let's do this. I start the podcast with one question every time. You can answer it however you want to answer it. There's no right or wrong answer. Here's the question. Let's say I'm walking around, we'll call it in the Bobby. I don't know if you could say that in Australia. Let's say where you're from. But let's say I'm walking around and sit down at a coffee shop, and I sit next to this cool guy with cool hair, which is you. We don't know each other. And for some reason, you turn and start talking to me. Why should I listen to you?
Yeah, I love this question. So it's very confronting. Well, look, I think I have some unique experiences around what it takes to build and grow a successful business, purely because for the past 8 or 9 years, I've been fortunate enough to not only speak to, but see so many people create life-changing products or services that shape the world as we know it today. And that's actually something that often I take for granted, to be honest with you, Anthony. The fact that I get to speak to so many different people, like billionaires all the time, or multi-billionaires, or even people that aren't billionaires, but they've actually, they're in our community and they've put like everything aside and gone, you know what, I'm going to make a change. I'm going to have an all shift moment. And they've gone out and they've just really applied themselves like anything that you want to achieve that might seem impossible or seem really tough. It takes hard work. And they've facilitated their growth. They've changed their life in some way, shape or form. They've started a life-changing business, or they've changed the lives of many. And I think that's why you would want to speak to me. That's why you would want to hear from me.
I like it's good. That's a very good answer, because I think in the day, if you're going to be telling somebody something, it should be something of value to them, right? But also, I tell people all the time, I don't think you should be telling people how to run the race until you've crossed some finish lines. Or you got to have gone, you know what? I probably should have went there. Hey, I went here. Don't go there. you've gone through multiple different journeys. Do you mind sharing with us kind of like, we'll call it the base foundation of how you entered into this space? Because you were not always an entrepreneur. You had your own journey to get to this point. You crossed some of your own finish lines. You mind sharing some?
Yeah, of course. So I started Foundr about 8, 9 years ago now, and even to get there, yeah, I've been on many different journeys. I did a lot of deep work on myself beforehand, um, especially work around kind of. I was really in the early days, really. I was interested in personal development, personal growth, and I read a lot of books about masculinity, like The Way of the Superior Man by David Data, Fire in the Belly, like all these really interesting books because I felt in the early days that I wasn't a developed like adult like man, and that was an interesting journey that I went down. And then what I discovered was really I needed to go out and find my life purpose. And I needed to find work that I was passionate about because life is too short to not do what you enjoy. So I went back to university
Yeah.
and I started studying a master's of marketing. So at the time I was working in IT support. I used to crawl under people's desks, fix their computers, and for me personally, that wasn't fulfilling. I felt like it just didn't bring me the kind of passion and energy that I wanted to feel when it comes to doing work that mattered or mattered to me for that matter. And then, long story short, I did my master's of marketing, and I couldn't get a job. I couldn't get a job in
Yeah.
marketing. And then I discovered I came up with this idea to merge my passion with marketing and IT
Mhm.
in online marketing. So I started to go down this path of the first business I started wasn't really a business, but it was this website called bestsmellingcologne.net. And I was trying to do affiliate marketing
Yeah. Yeah.
and make my first dollar online. And yeah, just honestly as a passion project to get a job in marketing. And then that didn't work out, and I realized it was pretty silly.
Yeah.
And I went for a job, and somebody said, "Oh, look, I didn't get it." And someone said, "Oh, look, it would be really cool if you had a passion project or could show something." So
Yeah.
I started this magazine. I started this magazine on the side while I was working in IT support. I wasn't even called Foundr at the time. And I was taking that magazine to job interviews as well,
Mhm.
even the first couple editions. I didn't think it would be a thing.
Yeah.
All I knew would be that I wanted to find work that I was passionate about. And what I discovered pretty quickly after doing these interviews and interviewing successful entrepreneurs was there was so much gold here and so much incredible content that I wanted to share it with the world and really break down what it takes to build and grow a successful business. And I started, why did I choose that topic? I started to hear stories. 8, 9 years ago, entrepreneurship wasn't as hot as it is now, but I started to hear stories of like friends of friends creating these online businesses, creating businesses with no experience whatsoever,
Yeah.
and doing these incredible things, right? And I know anybody listening to this right now or watching, they know those stories, right? You're reading about them, you're hearing about them from friends of friends, or maybe even friends right now are doing it. And I wanted to demystify that, even for my own understanding. And that's how Foundr was born.
It's beautiful, man. Because I think that's got to be the catalyst. What I always tell people is people are trying to seek that purpose. Like you said, purpose is always a leading thing. And I think we fail to comprehend as purpose has some precursors, and one of them is passion. I got to be passionate. But I think passion is triggered by curiosity. It's like I got to be curious about something
Mm.
enough to give the energy to without feeling drained, and then that curiosity turns into passion. Passion goes, wow, it's like I'm called to do this kind of thing. When you were in those spaces, there's a lot of people that are stuck in careers like you were that they're not happy about it and they don't enjoy it. What was the thing that made you curious enough to go a step further? There's somebody probably that you worked with that's still doing the same career. I would have to assume at some point, but you went outside of that. Like, what was the thing that you were the most curious about?
Well, I think for me, I did this Europe trip. I traveled around the world, and I really dreaded going back. Like I really
Yeah.
I traveled around the world, did a Eastern European summer trip uh, for about 8 weeks, and I couldn't. I just dreaded to go back so much, and that's when I knew that I had to make a
Or you-
change. Something had to change, and honestly, I didn't realize that I wanted to start a business, Anthony. Not in the slightest. And that's the crazy thing. So many people, they will know I want to start a business. For me, it really was like life's too short to not do work that you enjoy.
Exactly.
And then I found this thing and I fell in love with it, and then I realized like this is what I was meant to do, and that's been the case ever
I dig
since.
it. So like the curiosity was born of like a dire internal death of. And I get it. Like I had a career. I started and I was kind of like, this is it. And then you do it and you're like, I am not enjoying waking up every day. And when you're in that space, some people live like that. I feel like maybe you wasn't 100% curious more than just like I got to find something better to do with my time. And I think that's the start of a lot of people's stuff. And I think that's kind of why we have this move, right? Because you're in a space where you're helping hundreds of thousands, millions of entrepreneurs leave these 9 to 5s. Why do you think so many people now of all time are like thinking like the great resign we just had? Why are so many people leaving the 9 to 5 world?
Um, well, I think like I was reading this interesting statistic that 50% of people in North America, they have some form of a side hustle. Like, isn't that
Yeah,
insane?
I didn't know that.
I think, yeah, yeah. Look, I think that the internet has changed the game. The internet has really changed the game, Anthony. And you can you can create things. You can influence things. You can create products or services that really help somebody,
Mhm.
and you can be remunerated for that. Now, it's not easy, right? Like I'm not saying you can start a business in 2 days and you're making all this money. Like it takes time,
Mhm.
right? But really, the internet has changed the game. Everybody now can have a voice, like 15, 20 years ago, you and I couldn't do a podcast like this and build a community and build an
Mhm.
audience, right? And then perhaps help that audience further with in some way, shape, or form, whether it's via software, whether it's via coaching, consulting services, whether it's online programs, like whether it's physical products, like that wasn't possible. So I think more than ever now, the internet has given back the power to the individual to be able to change their careers if they really want, right? And that doesn't mean starting a business. Like for me, I, my core driver was how do I find work that I was passionate about. And once I found that, and once I realized that there was this untapped market with what we're building at Foundr, then I knew that like this is what I was meant to do, and that's been my calling ever since, right? And it's just been, there's been ups and there's been downs. It's not been like all fun times, and like it's been an incredible journey. Don't get me wrong, and like I'm more than happy to speak about some of the tough
Oh
times
yeah,
too.
we're gonna
But
get those for sure.
yeah, but I think to answer your question, the internet has changed the game, and you can create a business with no experience whatsoever. And if you apply yourself, you can do some incredible things, and you can change your life. You can, you can build a business, and you can build a successful one. And I've seen it
Yeah.
every single
I
day.
agree. I've seen it too. I live it. Before I'm in basketball shorts and I'm barefoot below this camera. I quite literally like I ran my wife and my son earlier today, and then we went and did some things with the family in a different city, and then we came back. I just finished a workout like 30 minutes before we got done. Whole family's in the garage. Coming here, I'm sitting down. We're gonna have a chat. When I'm done, I'm taking my kids to track. Like I have a business that allows me to have so much more freedom and great interaction with people. It's about 8 years deep now. But yeah, I fully agree because I experience and live it. And like you said, it is not easy. And there's a lot of like ups and downs, but they kind of they strengthen you, man. And I know for you, you went, yeah, you just alluded. I've done some of those, like, but you've also got like I want to know within the first year, how'd you get like guys like Richard Branson on like the podcast? Like, it's got to be ups and downs in that whole journey. Like, what were some of the things that you experienced that maybe people don't know or people need to know are part of the journey?
Hmm. Yeah. So look, sued for trademark infringement in the first 4 months of starting.
Oof.
So the magazine wasn't called Foundr; it was called something
Mhm.
else. So we were sued by one of the biggest business magazines in the United States.
Interesting.
Um, so that was really tough. And I never forget one of my newly found mentors in the early days, a friend of a friend who I'd met one of those people that was doing incredible things, building online businesses, and I was like, "Hey, can you mentor me?" And I had to message him like 7, 8 times for him to have a coffee with me.
Yeah.
And then in the first 4 months, I was being sued, and I remember being on the phone to him, being really stressed and nervous, and he was like, "What are you worried about?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "Well, what's the worst that can happen?" And I'm like, "Well, they'll take all my money. I go bankrupt." And he's like, "Well, do you have any money?" It's like, "No." He's like, "Well, what do you got to worry about then?"
Great. True.
So like, I was in a job that I was earning $50,000 a
Yeah.
year, and I had to purchase the software to produce the magazine, the digital magazine on my credit card. It was cost $2,000 US, and
Yeah.
yeah. So that was tough. How do we get Richard Branson in the first 4 months? Honestly, one thing I found was there was a lot of power in having a magazine in terms of influence. People tend to write a book to develop influence, right? I find having a magazine, if you publish a magazine, for whatever reason, it is even more influential than a book. And I knew that, speaking of books, that publishers always want to move more books. So I managed to track down Richard Branson's head of PR, and off the back of that, I never forget. I was in like a share house with my first housemate, my best mate at the time, and it was like really creaky. It was like this rundown old house, and it was at night
Yeah.
because here in Australia, after work, 6 7 p.m. is UK starting time. So it'd be like 9 a.m.
Yeah.
And I remember calling her up. I tried to call her so many times, made phone calls. I think that's a big distinction. When you want to get in touch with hard to reach people, it's easy to hide behind
I agree.
emails. And so I kept calling, and eventually she picked up, and she was about to hop on the tube in London, and I said, "Oh, hey, like it's Nathan Chan. I've been trying to get in touch with you." She's like, "Oh, yeah, sorry, I've been hard to get in touch with," and I gave her my pitch, and I was stumbling and really nervous,
Yeah.
and she said, "Look, please understand, Nathan, we get like 10 to 20 pitches a day." To interview Sir Richard Branson. Shoot me an email, and it might take me a while to get back to you, but I promise I will. And long story short, they got back to me after I sent a really good email and shared the fact that his first business venture was a student magazine, and we're a fledgling business magazine,
Yeah.
and then he agreed to a Q&A interview written, and then the rest is history. So then as time went on, I started to build the brand, and when I say build the brand, I think there's three core elements to me when it comes to there's three core beliefs that I have when it comes to building a great brand at Foundr, or any brand for that matter. One is the product's got to be awesome, right? So for us, in our case, it's got to be really great content. Two, great design and aesthetics. I think that great design and aesthetics can be a USP in of itself. And then the third one is having ambassadors. Having ambassadors, thought leaders, well-known authorities, thought leaders, ambassadors in the niche or market that you are in. So in our case, I found that having these successful founders, convincing them to do an interview and share their story, and then having their story on the front cover of our magazine, over time built the credibility of the brand. And that's how, over time, we've been able to kind of interview more and more successful, well-known founders and have them on the front covers of the magazine and tell their story.
Beautiful, man. And that's I like how you alluded to the whole thing, like you got to do phone calls. And that is one thing that most people nowadays in this text heavy, email heavy world, people don't like doing. And it does actually have you stand out from the pack. So I love that that's a part of it. I'm going to add a fourth one to the brand. This may be something that I'm wrong. I've not done the level of work you have, but somebody threw something at me years ago, and I said, I like that. And they said you have to have, the brand's got to be the personalities, like even to the brand aesthetics, it connects. And I know for like my brand, I try to think of like, if I was hanging out at I don't know, at a restaurant, who is the kind of person I'd want to hang out with? I'd want to go introduce myself. I'd be drawn to. And if I can think of that personality and bring it to life, it helps the brand be something that people are drawn to. But I didn't even think about the other parts of it too. Like, yeah, the aesthetics in and of itself can be unique, like selling property. That's pretty cool. And you've built this thing from nothing. Like, it's totally bootstrapped. Do you mind going through, like, share with us how that came? Because you had this idea. It was a side hustle. You kind of get some things moving. You start calling, building. I have to assume now it's a team of amazing people that are doing this. What were the progressions and stages that it took to get to where it's at now?
Yeah, so yeah, I haven't taken any outside funding. So started the business with 2,000 US dollars or 3,000 US dollars around that off the back of a credit card. Um, and uh, even in the first 12 months, I used, like, the power of Upwork to work with
Yep.
contractors, to fulfill various um, things, like for the magazine, like for design, right? I'm not a designer, so I partnered with an incredible designer, who I found. His name's Karen, in India,
Mm.
and he did incredible work. He was one of the people that taught me that when you're creating a business in the early days, if you invest in brand, uh, when you invest in design and branding early on, it pays returns long term, and
Agree.
it was really great advice. I used to get my mum to help me copy edit and proofread the magazine. I used to get my dad to help me on the tech side with the app and all that side of things.
Nice.
Um, manage the software. I used to write a lot of the articles as well. I used to, yeah, I had a copy editor from Upwork that would help. I would put it out, a call out to people that want to contribute to the magazine. It was really ghetto, man. Like,
Wow.
honestly, I didn't know what I was
How
doing,
get
right? Like,
there?
no, I really didn't. I really didn't. I was like, the fact when we launched on the first day, we made $5.50.
Yeah.
Two people paid for the magazine, and like, we didn't even have a successful person on the front
Yeah.
cover. It was a stock image because no one would get back to me.
Mm.
Is insane, right? Like, so, uh, then over time, it took me a year to build up the recurring revenue to leave my day
Mm.
job, and then over time, how we grew it and grew the team was really about this idea of getting more leverage for the content, like getting more leverage for the content. So, like, one interview could be a podcast, it could be a blog
Mhm.
post, it could be an email, it could be social content, and we just really spun that out, and then over time, which is now, looking back, it's the main part of our business is our online education platform,
Mm.
and that's um, really what drives Founder. And we're looking to do a pretty big rebrand, and we're launching a membership product, an all access pass called Founder Plus,
Yeah.
which we're really excited about. But yeah, the magazine and that side of the business is a very, very small part. Like, I think, um, we started as a media
Mhm.
business, but now, as time has gone on, we're really an online education
Yeah.
company, and we're doing a lot to kind of really double down on that space. And soon, we will rebrand pretty heavily. So if you think about it, like, HubSpot, great example. HubSpot is a software company first and foremost, but they have a massive media arm
Yeah.
where they have tons of
Great
podcasts, blog
videos.
posts, articles, great videos, all that kind of stuff. So Founder will be not too dissimilar.
Mm.
We're an online ed tech company. That's what we're moving towards, and we want to build one of the largest business schools, online business schools in the
Yeah.
world, uh, where the people that are teaching, have incredible backgrounds and experiences to share. And then off the back of that, we have a media arm of the business putting out tons of content to help people on their journey.
Yeah.
So, in a roundabout way, as time has went on, I went full time. I hired our first employee probably about 6 months later. So that means I'd been doing it by myself for 2 years, but then I had all these different contractors, and kind of we moved from a contractor model eventually to hiring people all around the world, and now, yeah, we have about 55
That's
people
awesome.
part of the team around the world full time,
Super.
which is pretty
Yeah, it
exciting.
is, man. That's dope. You get to, the way I look at it too is people don't realize, like, that's 55 people that you get to create a space for like an enjoyable life is how I look at it. I feel like I can tell by your personality. I can't know for sure, but like just talking to you, you probably care about your people. They probably feel cared for, right?
Oh,
And then that it's
of
man, you get to
course.
have this. It's like a new big family. Like and everybody gets to have fun and enjoy impacting all the lives. I'm sure you love the stories that come back. You had alluded to something earlier, and I think the language you said was ghetto. Like, and I come from an area that we would definitely say is ghetto, and I think that that's necessary. Like, there's something to what you outlined. Like I said it earlier, like this dark work concept, the stuff that no one's seeing behind the scenes, uncelebrated. But I think that that is
Mm.
necessary for those to succeed. Because if you didn't do that and figure it out and how to do it, it's hard to hire the right people because you can't communicate properly. You can't be a prominent leader who has that they see has some kind of brains and intelligence for this area. And I think that is a great reason as to why you're the kind of company to lead into what you're doing now. Do you mind sharing, because obviously we see that you've gone through the gamut, the ups and downs, they'll call it the adjustments and the morphing into an educational company. What is it you're launching in a sense of like if someone's coming across it, let's say in 6 months and they see this thing's been adjusted, what will they notice? What will they see? And who is it essentially for?
Yeah. So right now, what happened was, as I was developing the magazine, uh, to grow it, I used Instagram. And as you said, mentioned, we have over close to 4 million followers just on Instagram alone. It's been an incredible channel to grow Foundr. And I wrote a blog post, true to Foundr form. Like, we just want to share, we just want to help people and share incredible stories or experiences, and produce great content that really helps somebody. And uh, I wrote this blog post around how I grew Foundr's Instagram from 0 to 10,000 followers in 2 weeks. And that blog post went semi-viral, and all these people started to ask me if I did consulting. And I didn't want to do consulting, right? I just wanted to grow Foundr. I want to build a platform, something's bigger than myself. I want to build something that helps a lot of people at scale.
Yeah.
And long story short, people were like, "Oh, well, do you have a course?" This was 5 years ago. And I was like, "No." And I was like, "Okay, maybe there's something here." So I did a course before cohorts were a thing.
Yeah.
I did a cohort-based course on Instagram, and it was incredible. I had a ton of fun, and the results people were getting were insane. And I can tell you some incredible stories. Still to this day, one of my close friends, this is a really great story. So then, I created this course, and then I pre-recorded it, and then I was like, "Hey, well, I don't want to just create a course. Just like, I want to build Foundr, and I don't want to be the only teacher, because surely I don't know. I don't believe I know everything. What if I got all these people that are on the front covers of the magazine and the people that I interviewed to start teaching? And what I identified was there was a gap in the marketplace where there isn't a well-known go-to place where you can learn entrepreneurship, all the different facets, from people that have actually done it, right?" And you talk about you mentioned a really cool analogy about if you want to teach someone how to run, you got to be able to run yourself. It was something like that, right? And what happened then was, after the Instagram course, over time we launched more courses, and now we have close to 25 courses taught by all sorts of different experts in various areas, where we poll our community and they tell us what they want to learn. And now we have enough courses where it's valuable enough to launch an all-access pass membership, which we're calling Foundr Plus, really with this idea of becoming like a fully rounded entrepreneur, right? Like you need to know copywriting. You need to know email marketing. You need to know how to hire and how to lead people and how to build culture and how to find talent. That TikTok ads is really hot right now, and like, how do you know, well, there's all these different people saying, "Hey, do this. How do you know?" So that's why we're launching Foundr Plus, which is our all access membership pass, where you get access to all of our courses and one new course a month. So we're producing one new course a month.
Nice.
Eventually I think we can get it to one a week, and really aggressively scaling that. And who is it for? It's for somebody ideally that are in the early stages of their business. Ideally, they have product market fit. Ideally, they have a small team and they're looking for a competitive advantage. They're looking to, instead of investing in this course, investing in that course, investing in this course, like we want to provide an extremely cost affordable solution where we vet the instructors, vet the people, vet their experiences, and really unpack their experiences and lessons learned, and really help people grow their businesses. So that's a little bit about Foundr Plus and how it all came together. And here's another reason why I realized over time it's not enough to just have one course, and buy them individually, is because one of my friends who I grew up with, he's done like 3 or 4 of our courses over the years. And the first one he did was our Instagram course. And his partner is a professional organizer. And their company's called The Organizing Platform. And they're going gangbusters here in Melbourne. And so built a massive following. It's closing in on 100,000 plus on professional organizing, and they get so many clients and all sorts of things. And then off the back of that, they built an audience and they did our e-commerce course and they launched a successful physical product.
Nice.
And then off the back of that, they did our other course on Facebook ads and they started to use Facebook ads to grow the business further. And then off the back of that, they did another one of our programs on how to create an online course, and now they have a course on professional organizing. So they've gone so this is why and how I realized Foundr Plus, an all access membership pass, like once a year, like once an annual fee, really affordable. How can we just create like this next level online business school? And that's where kind of we're moving towards, and that's what I'm really excited about. But I hope that kind of paints a picture around how this idea of kind of like this full stack entrepreneur, or how we can equip you with all the different skills.
I like that. And I think you laid it out in a way that that kind of would have been a question, but you answered the question. But I know a lot of people run memberships, and there's different companies out in the world that will have different areas like you're talking about. But I think
of course,
it's more of if you can lay out the success path for me, because I like that path you just talked about. You learned this, and then that led to this. And so if somebody's like, which course do I take first? Something like that's a great idea of how to do it. I actually took the copy course. I was in one of the webinars for your Instagram course. I didn't join it. I don't know why I didn't join it. But I was like, maybe I sat on it for too long. But I did go through the entire copywriting structure. And I can't remember the guy's name. He's
Armand.
Yeah, that's what it was exactly. And then the woman I saw the blonde woman does the e-com stuff. I was like, maybe, but I have no product, so I didn't take it. But I will say this: the course I did take, I loved how it was bite-sized, was straightforward, was communicated well. Like, it was the perfect way for me to learn it. And being an ADD guy who doesn't want to, it's hard to pay attention to stuff. It was no fluff. It wasn't a bunch of random pictures. It was dialed in, and I was like, it was all value. So I will say, if anything else in the kind of grouping of the things is similar to that, I'm excited. I may pop in there and take a look at it myself and my team. Like, hey, what can we get out of this thing that's floating around? Because we don't know everything either, man. I think it's the part of the process.
Thank you, Anthony. Yeah. So look, over time, we want to really build out the platform and use technology. So over time, we want to have like a recommendation engine. So you'll answer a series of questions and we can build customized learning journeys for you. Like, that's where we're going, man. Like, that's what really excites me. And it gets me really excited where we're moving there. And just the accessibility of it, right? Like, I know like you said, there's a lot of stuff out there, right? But I'm hoping that we can build a platform which is highly curated, and with really valuable content that can really help people take things to the next level. And over time, we want to have entrepreneurs in residence as part of that community. And we just want to make this thing the most incredible, valuable membership for any founder or entrepreneur.
That's nice, man. I like it. It's interesting. Earlier in the beginning of this, my head goes like, this is a lot. This is an undertaking. Like, there's an overhaul of things that have to be done. And people, you talked about in the very beginning, there was a space where you had to grow yourself. You didn't feel like an adult grown male, you said, or something that are like that realm. And I heard this quote years ago, and I've heard, I think there's 2 of them that fit well. The first one is, you can never grow a business more than you've grown yourself. And the other one is, the biggest room in the world is a room for improvement. As you look at the next stage you're going into, do you find that there are some things that you as a human have to grow into so this growth for the business can take place?
Massively, massively, so much, Anthony. Like, I agree that the like Founder wouldn't be where it is today if it wasn't for the people around
Yeah.
me, and we've got an incredible team, and I'm forever grateful that I get to work with the team that we have every single
Mhm.
day. And I think businesses are built by people, and it's so simple, right? Like businesses are built by people, and so one big area for me that I need to grow into is developing really into a true CEO and a great leader.
Yeah.
I naturally lean towards kind of the founder mentality, wanting to do 101 things, wanting to, I get excited by ideas, I get excited
Yeah.
by creating things. And, I'm really moving into a CEO role now.
Yes.
And to be honest, that's why, like, something like Founder Plus, like we want to have like heaps of courses on leadership as
Yeah.
well, right? And how to develop as a CEO, not sexy things as well, because these are important
Mhm.
things that you need to learn to build a business. So for me, to answer your question, Anthony, I really need to learn how to develop as a leader, how to hold people to account, how to rally and inspire. I think I'm good one on one, but I'm not that strong in group settings. Like these are kind of areas where I'm really working hard to develop.
Would you say that some of that will come from the people you interview? Because you've interviewed these amazing people. The people who've been on your covers, right? Are obviously some are phenomenal CEOs. Are there things you're learning from them from interviews or from studying them afterwards?
Yeah, there is. But it's really weird, to be honest, Anthony. I do so many interviews all the
Mm.
time that it becomes this huge blur, and I get so much gold, and then I write it down or unpack it, but I can't even keep up with it myself with the interviews,
Yeah.
Like, and that's why I would never expect, right? Like, that's why I would never expect anybody to listen to every single interview I get Founder. Like we're up to like 400
Mhm.
plus now. Like eventually you kind of duck in, you duck out, you take ones that are available,
Yeah.
you discard the
Mhm.
rest. Yeah.
That's a lot. And I get it. I'm at like this is I think you're like 330 and it is tough, man. There's so many different lessons you learn and things. You try to write it down. I found that what helped me is like I have a coach. I'm like, hey, I'm good here. Like you said, I could do this, but I can see what's in front of me. I
Mm.
can't see the field. Can you tell me what you're seeing in the field so that I can know where to direct? And then that's kind of helped me clarify angles and directions. And then I got teammates. Right. When I played football, I had 10
Mm.
other people. Like, all right, this is my guy. You need to take care of those guys. And then so we could allocate and direct people and it helped the team win much more. Um, as you step into that, does that sound like you might be in that kind of place there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. 100%. Like I think uh as I said, businesses are built by
Yeah.
people, and I need to really focus on being an incredible leader. And yeah, look, I do learn from these interviews all the
Yeah.
time, but it's sometimes going to be hard to keep up.
Yeah, that's gonna be natural. And that's for anybody, man. There's only so much you can consume and you can do and apply. And as you go to the next step, like what maybe the last, I guess, what's one of the most recent things you've learned that you've had to adjust or adapt because you can't get this far without having to adapt in certain ways. And as you go to this, like when this new idea of like, hey, let's be this amazing Edco, like what was the first thing you go, okay, I got to do this, and I haven't done that before.
Hmm. Oh, look, there's so many things I'm learning. There's one that comes to mind that I'm learning in the past week is the blessing and the curse of the CEO.
Mm.
If I ask somebody to do something, they will take that very, very, very seriously. And I don't. I am only starting to see sometimes the power that I yield in the company and the influence that I
Yeah,
yield.
Spider
Um,
Man.
that's yeah. No, look, that's yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, look, I think that's a good one. I'm learning. Look, in the ed tech space, I think for us, as we start to pivot, one thing I'm realizing is it's not just about the courses themselves, but it's around the product
Yeah,
experience and what does our engineering and data capabilities look like, because there's going to be a lot that we need to do there on just the learning experience. Um, it's so much more than just like now, like, if we used Kajabi or Teachable and uploading a course, like it's so much more than that, Anthony. For us, we're really trying to build like an incredible experience, like a world-class experience. So like you said, it's a pretty big undertaking, but for me, it's like we have access to these people, right? Like we've built the brand thus far that we have access to these incredible founders. Why not build this platform where so many of the greatest entrepreneurs of our generation are really giving back
Yeah.
in this curated manner and really help people? Like where it all started for me, like that question, how are these people with no experiences whatsoever, friends of friends, building these online businesses? I'm still working to help demystify that and really give people the tools and the experiences and the frameworks from these people, the frameworks to help them. And it's incredible. Some of our students, like my good friend, like what he's been able to do with his partner Chelsea, like it's amazing.
So secret sauce there. And this is an interesting, like, I have this is my one battle with the educational space, and I am in it. I have courses, I coach, I teach, I work with big companies. And the one thing is, recently I heard somebody frame it up well. They said that the success isn't based upon what you know, it's can you learn and rapidly translate it to action. And even statistically, in the world we do, 97% of people don't even finish courses. But I finished yours, right? And I finished all of mine, but I'm also a different breed. What do you think about is different about you or myself or your friend that allowed you to take the things you were learning and rapidly translate them to action?
Oh, look, I think it's a few things, and that's where, like, remember I talked about the technology and the learning experience. There's a ton that we've got to get to around how we can, like, really focus on usage, utility, all sorts of things, like which we're already doing right now. So, like, there's a couple of key things that we're really focused on when it comes to creating courses or that really provide value to people and to really help people achieve an outcome. So one thing that's interesting is just because somebody doesn't complete a course doesn't mean they don't get value
Oh,
from it.
100%.
That's an interesting take to think about, right? If somebody goes through 3 modules of a course, does that mean and they've learned a ton, does that mean that it's not
Not
valuable?
at all.
Right? That's one thing I often think about, and we see, like, like we see that, right? Like not everybody completes our courses, like, but at the same time, what can we do to kind of help people want to complete those courses? So we're really big fans of this concept of micro learning. So you would have seen that we had like a shorter type course, and each lesson was not over 10 minutes. Every single lesson was not over 10 minutes. Every single lesson has an action item. We give people like breathing room. So when we design the course, it's like by module 1 you'll achieve all these things. By lesson 1 you kind of taper your way up. So like great examples with the e-commerce course, right? It could take somebody 6 months to complete that course because it takes time to create a whole business, like around ordering your stock. So in the first module, it's all about coming up with your ideas. So by the end of that module, you have a list of ideas. So the first step is researching. Then off the back of researching, you look at how you're going to differentiate in the next lesson. So we really try and break things down. And then over time, as I said to you, Anthony, like we've got a lot of work to do on the learning experience, how we can use technology to really help that person on their journey and really help that person's experience with us as a product, us as a brand. So I'm with you. I have those same kind of dichotomies around online education, and that's why this is something that I'm excited for us to really
I
tackle.
like it. And I think what you're alluding to is kind of like the idea that people can consume something and not get like, there's definitely course I have left unfinished to this day. Like, and I've gone through, but I got what I needed in 80% of it. It's like once you learn something and you unpack it, it's now learned. You can't forget it. That's the great thing of knowledge. It's in there now, and the more you stack, you might put the pieces together and create something completely different that course would have took you down. But this is amazing here. And so, yeah, I agree. Like sometimes popping in and grabbing the section that you need that opens a door to a perspective, to a conversation, to an opportunity, to an idea without finishing a course, there's still a ton of value that came from that.
Yeah, look, once again, for us, I look at it differently because now we're moving to a membership model where we're going to be producing one new course a month. We have 25 courses already. We launch our Founder Plus All Access membership in
Yeah.
July. And for us, we really just have one product, right? We're going to move towards having one product. And our job is to make sure that you get insane amounts of value for that one product, which is effectively many different courses, many different experiences, and even just one insight where you get from somebody, like, whether it's TikTok ads and you give it to someone on your team and they go through it, and it's like, or if it's one thing, if you can get one thing that could add a couple of $1,000s to your bottom line, like, yeah, it's worth it, right? And like that, like for our all access membership, it's only going to be like $1,500 a year. Like, in the grand scheme of things, it's pretty cost affordable,
Very
right?
much so. Yeah, and then for what we do in this educational world, yes. Like, I don't even have products that besides my membership that at that level, because you get it's a return on the investment. If you put $1,500 in, and I can learn one thing that makes 1,500 this month, well, I've paid it, and then every month past that's value upon value. It's all profit. Yeah, I get it, and I think that those who you're talking to also get it. I like this idea, man. It's going to be very. I can see it be very successful, not just because of what it is conceptually, but knowing who you bring to the table, who you are as a human. Yeah, I watch in the background. You see things, and I've watched you. I like that there's a humbleness to you talking and showing the journey you've been on. Most people want to sit in a high tower and like, look at me, I'm amazing, and there's like, hey man, you're like, I'm a guy that's doing really well and I'm learning. I'm humble about it, but like I get down still. There's that drive that I think people who are going to hop into a ship need to know the captain is a person capable of riding that shit and driving it anywhere.
Oh, thanks, Anthony. You're too kind. Look, I think one thing that one of my mentors taught me, he created a really successful unicorn SaaS company, is he said to me that whatever problem, he said, Nathan, whatever problem that you have in your life can actually be solved by somebody else. And it's your job to go out and find that person who has done what you're trying to do and solve that problem, right? And that's all I'm trying to do, right? Like, I haven't got it all worked out, Anthony. I have a big vision for this incredible platform that I believe we can build. I believe we can build one of the largest online business schools in the world that is, the most comprehensive online education platform for entrepreneurs out there, which is truly next level. And like, for me, I'm still doing what we're all doing. Like, we need to, like, I'm just going out and finding people that I can learn from, and I'm trying for us to share it through
I
Foundr.
like it, man. Well said. It's a great undertaking because the world is going that way, man. There's no slowing down of it. Two questions as we come to a close in our time together. First question is, where can I send people to pay attention, to get on a waiting list, to be made aware when this actually goes live?
Oh, so you can just go to foundr.com. So it's founder without the E /membership. And if you sign up, you can sign up to the wait list, and we'll also give you a free subscription to Foundr, where you get access magazine, where you get access to all of our back issues plus all future editions.
That's nice, man. I'm gonna go pick some of those up. I like this magazine idea. I've got some ideas stewing, and you threw one in my head. Like, I'm like, yeah, I was gonna write a book, and I'm going to at some point still. But I'm like, magazine might be a good idea for this. When you guys get a course on how to start a magazine, let me know. I'm gonna pop in and maybe figure that one out.
Oh, it might be in the platform, man. Might have to check it out. Foundr Plus.
And I'll gladly pay for it all, man. When you pay attention, so I don't even need any hookups, man. Let me know. So second question, this is when you can answer however you want to. It's always my final question. It goes to the heart of it. But here's the question. What promise did God make to the world when he created you?
I would say that I would be a person that really cares about others, and I'm going to live a good life to the fullest.
It's good, man. I like it. Care about others and live as an example of how to do it. Yeah. I like that, man. I can see you're not like it's just when I was playing football, I played professional sports, and I was like a leader, and the thing was is I was a guy that's like, look, I'm not gonna ask you to do anything I haven't done. I'm not gonna ask you to outwork me, but I'm gonna ask you to meet my level. And I'm making a huge assumption. Maybe it's not, but I feel like you're a guy that's like not like a hard driver, yell at people, but like, look, you work and people go, man, look at Nathan get down. Like, and there's a drive to want to respect the career, respect the level because of how you'd lead. Would that be in the ballpark of realities for you?
Yeah, I think you nailed it.
Yeah, I like that, man. Those are the kind of people I like because it's a different kind of leadership. It's leadership in a sense of people want to follow, not they feel like they have to. And then that's when you think you create something magical. It's a great team, and I always want. I know when I have people, I want to take care of my people to a level that they love taking care of our people, those outside, the people like myself.
Mm,
And so I thank you for being that
mm.
and rocking and rolling, man. Any last words you have for the people?
Yeah, look, I would just double down, like wherever you're at in your journey, in your entrepreneurial journey, I cannot stress enough that whatever problem you have has been solved by somebody else, and it's your job to go out and find that person and to learn from them. It's been so incredibly powerful, this idea for me, and how I've been able to build Founder and other businesses. And I cannot stress enough, if you can be vulnerable enough with yourself to say, hey, I don't have the answer to this problem, and I'm going to put myself out there and try and find somebody or learn from them or learn from multiple people in any way, shape, or form, whether that's catching up with them, whether that's enrolling in a program, whether that's reading a book. Like, it is so incredibly powerful having this mindset, and I promise you, wherever you want to go, you will get there.
I agree, man. It's echoed by every successful person, and I hope people hear it from the person at the right time that they need to, because once that settles in, dude, people's lives change. Quite literally, like everybody, like that's just how it works. Once that seed sets and it plants and it grows into something, it's beautiful. Dude, thank you so much for hanging out. I know it's not always easy to get a little bit of your time, so I do genuinely appreciate you coming and hanging. Those out there of you who are paying attention still and tuned in, thank you for hanging out with us. I always look at it as we take something from you, which is your time we can't give back, but we do give back value. And I know Nathan did that today. If you are experiencing some of like a breakthrough, an aha moment, like let us know. Send us a message, send him a message. Go to Instagram or go to foundr.com/membership. Hop in the membership. I know there's a place you can communicate inside there for sure. But also, if you know someone who needs to hear this, maybe they've been battling with the journey of entrepreneurship, or maybe want to even get in the first place and they need to hear this message, but you can't reach them, let Nathan reach them. And then outside of that, pop it into whatever feed. If it's a good episode, let the rest of the world hear it. Rate, review, all that kind of fun stuff. But outside of that, thank you again. Thank you, Nathan, again. As always, make the most of your shift moments so you can make shift happen. It's Anthony Trucks and Nathan Chan signing off. Hey, thank you for tuning into the Shift podcast. I pray that we gave something amazing to your life. And if you found this episode served you in some way, I would love if you could share it with people you know, people you love, as well as your community, because you never know who needs that simple little seed that can grow into something amazing for their life. And the actual training doesn't stop here. If you want your free copy of the show notes sent to you after every episode so you can get the major points consolidated down, simply go to textanthony.com and message the word notes. Till next time, make shift happen.